Hey guys, so we'll start just by testing the sound and everything. The video you're watching, right below that, there should be a little chat room. If you're signed in, if you can just type there and say whether or not things sound okay or look okay and all that. Um, just watching this Weight Watchers After Hours video you're watching. Let me see if I can find. Oh, hold on. Mute myself here. Yeah, so the short float and Steve Gomez here at Today Trader that works with Trade Ideas is fantastic for this kind of stuff. So definitely keep an eye out. He's been kind of pounding the table on this one for a while because if you look at the short interest, it's just insane. And it's going to come to a point soon, I think, where what could be right now, right? We're all the way up to 24, so we're already up in this area here. The could hurt, if you were short from anywhere in the tens, right? You're talking over double now, right? Every time it's pulled back, it's pushed up even stronger. So I'm not a big gap player, but that's kind of interesting. So I was just keeping an eye on that. So as per usual with this week, we're gonna go over the trades the bot made today with this kind of discretionary type style that I'm doing. I'm not going through all of the algos and everything for you; that'd take forever. But just this kind of discretionary style, and then we're gonna go from there and look at what the markets did today, what we might think they might do in the future, and then go to build a list on top of that. So let me drag in the windows, and again, just a little speech for anyone who doesn't know kind of how this works is I use Trade Ideas here, and again, if you're interested at all, links below, to narrow down every stock out there to a small number of stocks. I feed them onto a watch list of things that I think have the potential to do something the next day. From then, I just used kind of basic Trade Ideas built-in type algorithms to kind of say, okay, trade this stock if and only when these certain things happen. And then from then, I'm able to kind of plug that into the bot. But again, for people I know who discretionary trade this kind, they basically just have these two alert windows up and a level 2, and they just kind of do what these things say. But for myself, I'm feeding it into a bot that's currently getting built with the prop firm that I'm working with to basically just auto trade everything that we can spit out of Trade Ideas into our system. So that's what's happening with these today. So we'll just go through what happened, and if you were here for the last live stream, you'll see us making this list. And if you're here this one and you come to the next one, then you'll see us what we picked today, how it performed tomorrow, basically. So NCLH triggered here at 95, sold off quickly, about 50 cents. The bot covered most of the position here, held a little tiny bit, and when it came back up here, it took out the rest. So that was a pretty fantastic one. Activision triggered here at 02, just kind of based sideways all day. Didn't really do much. If I was paying attention at this push to lows, maybe that was a time to take some off, but I wasn't around for that one. CCL did not work out. If the stop was a little bit wider, it would have, but it triggered through here and then just ran right back up and stopped us out, I believe, in this little wick. So small loser on that one. PSX was kind of the trade of the day. We were looking at it. Got to keep remembering I've got this neat little tool. We were looking at it because there was this resistance area here, and it had put a couple topping tails in. So we were saying that if we kind of opened up and rejected this area tomorrow, which we can see happened right here, we might get a move down. So it had this push down, and this actually covered most of the position here, and then a small bounce and continued in the end of the day, and the bot got out the rest pretty close to the close. So delete this. And MASI just didn't get filled, unfortunately. You can see that it tried to trigger here, right? So even though this came through, the bot tried to short it, but I think it pushed down and kind of stayed down below the entry for far too long. And we have something built in the bot where you can say, okay, put out the order, but if the order's not filled within X amount of time, cancel it. I'm no longer interested. So that happened before it pushed up here, and would have been nice, but didn't get that one. That happened. So HDS, we were kind of looking at this. Move this out of your way. Come on, there. HDS, we were looking at this support in through here, and the topping tail or the bottoming tails here, triggered right down here, and then just kind of chopped sideways all day. So nothing interesting with that one. INTU, triggered right through here. We were just looking at this kind of bull flag that was forming, and I think this one is going to go on the list for tomorrow as well. Took a little bit, but then pushed out to target where the robot takes most of the position off and then holds the rest, which would have been taken out somewhere in there. And QCOM, this is our other one that didn't work today. So it triggered on this candle here, and you can see it kind of slowly climbed up, and when it broke down under this trend line, sold off. So kind of a wrap up. It's 3 decent winners, 2 small losers. And the winners are obviously, I try to go for at least a 2-to-1 risk reward, so the winners at least made for the losers and some. And then on PSX, we had a pretty substantial move in our direction. By the end, it was, nearly 80 cents. So, just talking about, I was talking to someone just a little bit ago about, basically if you're in a good position, you may want to consider keeping a tiny amount, keeping it so tiny that you're not really interested in, basically if, you might as well take out most of your position, leave a tiny amount in, because sometimes you're going to get a nice move like this. And, PSX, if it got kind of interesting under these lows here, we could have had a pretty significant drop. So, make the position small enough that if it does come back and gets you break even or for a little bit of a loss, it doesn't hurt. But you might want to consider keeping a small amount around. So that's kind of the wrap up of what happened with the bot today. Can't complain. Again, just showing that if you manage your positions with 3 winners and 2 losers, it can be a fantastic day. Over to the SPY, basically nothing happened today. Right? This is one of the reasons why I'm glad I'm an auto trader and I don't really have to be around all day, because, you can see that we did nothing, right? We opened up, this is the open yesterday, right? And this is the close. So the difference, this is what happened the last 2 days, right? And the swings intraday haven't been that crazy either. So still kind of this base within this larger base. If anything, it could be a bull flag. It could be congesting to go higher, but who knows, right? So, all right. So basically, I'm not going to change the way I'm doing things with just looking for overbought and oversold stocks to feed them into the system for the next day, because it seems to be working fine. So as long as we kind of are just chilling out in here, not doing anything, I think that's going to be the same. And to be honest, I don't think it's going to be easy enough just to buy a break of this. If it goes higher, buy a break of it to go lower. I think the market's meaner than that, and we're going to get some crazy shenanigans overnight, and it's going to have gapped one way or the other. So until that happens, I'm just going to be sitting tight. All right, so let's go through the short ideas first. And again, for people who don't know, if you go to trade ideas, account management, edit symbol lists, you can just kind of create a new list or edit your old ones. Then you can feed those lists, so you can tell your alert windows to only look for only look at those lists, right? So this will only show me things that are within these lists. So I'm going to open this up and I'll clear out the symbols from today, and on my other screen, as we find interesting stuff, I'll be firing them into there. So ATVI I'm going to put back on. Didn't get going today, but it was very liquid, traded very well, a nice average true range, dealt well with the stop that I put on it. So I'm going to keep that one out. And again, I'll let you guys know that there is a chat here. If at any times you're like, oh, you know, you want to know something about trade ideas or the scans I'm doing or anything like that, let me know. If not, I'm just going to keep hammering on. And I'm actually going to crack a little beer here because I'm Canadian and I'm done working for the day. That's what we do. Hope that wasn't too loud. So ATVI I'm going to leave on. CCL didn't work too well for us today, but I'm going to leave this one on as well. I just like the fact that the volume here continues to be declining, right? As it's making new highs, the volume is declining. You can see that how long it took to move up versus how quickly it moved down, right? Same, we're having basically areas come in where it's obvious the sellers are. So if I move this, the same thing happened here, right? It gets up to a point, smacks its head, sells right back down. Gets up to a point, smacks its head, sells right back down. So I just think at some point the bulls might give on this one. CERN, not really a huge fan of anymore. Basically, if you haven't followed anything that Brian Shannon's done, for the love of God, do it. He's a man, a myth, a legend when it comes to technical analysis. And he always talks about that corrections can either happen two ways, right? Corrections can happen through price, like that, or through time, like this, right? So basically, I am looking for this kind of snapback in my stocks. So then the longer they kind of base sideways, if anything, I might be looking for a pullback to this support area that might bounce for a continuation higher. So when I look at something like CERN, and now it's kind of just been chopping for the last while, it's just no longer an interesting stock to me. At some point, I may put this, definitely putting this EVHC back on. We had a swift sell off, and then we're coming back to this support that may be resistance now. If it cracks its head on, the sentiment is obviously very bearish in this one. Oops. I didn't mean to close that. What was that? Oh. I'll update that when the time comes. Facebook today, that's still valid to me. I'm going to put that one back. LUV, no longer interested. We were looking at LUV as this gap down. It came up to where the gap met. We thought we could get a pullback tomorrow. That didn't happen, and the bot didn't short it, so that's kind of the best of both worlds. MASI, now that I know that it's that spready and whippy and hard to get filled, I'm not interested in. PSX, I'm actually going to put back in. It's still just kind of teetering on this support area, right? I think if we break, a logical place might be to go to fill the gap. So I'm going to leave this one back on the list for tomorrow. And Zillow. Yeah, again, Zillow is the same argument I made with CERN, right? Where we had this big up move, a little snapback, but now we're just kind of making this sideways base. The other thing too is if you look yesterday, right, we came right back down to yesterday's low, and the day before slow and bounced up. So kind of shows me that there's some sort of underlying bid in there somewhere, and obviously too extended for me to look long. So for now, we've got ATVI, CLL, EVHC, Facebook, and PSX. So again, I don't know how long this is going to be interesting to you guys, because what you're going to notice quite often is me just doing the same thing in the same scans, and I will continue to until, for whatever reason, something stops working, right? If the market gets a little bit more volatile, if it starts getting a little bit more directional, maybe I'll take a look at it for bigger moves one way or the other. But right now, I think the best bet is just to look for these revision to the mean type plays. We're going to put in C-Trip. We kind of put in a clear layer of resistance up there at 53. Tried to make an attempt at it day before, couldn't. Hit it here, here, and here. So basically, with us gapping here, what I'll say with the bot is, right, any sort of pullback, as long as we don't violate this type of area, then I'm going to look for continuation there. So C-Trip's at it. And again, I look for about 10 per each side, so about 20 trades total. Again, I may increase that when the market gets a little bit more interesting, but right now 10 per side will lead to about, as you saw, 5 to 7 trades a day. I figure if I can do 5 trades a day and average 3 right, 2 wrong, that's fantastic, especially with a decent risk reward. Like, I'm not one of those guys who's risking, $10,000 to make 20 bucks. I was watching this guy today, and he just kept saying, oh, I'd love to build a position if I could, and obviously only building a position when he was underwater. So that was his nice way of saying, I'm going to average up until I'm right. It's just such a dangerous thing. So for me, I generally risk a quarter to make a half, right? So I'm risking 25 cents to make 50, 20 cents to make 40, 15 cents to make 30, and then that extra tiny little bit I just leave run all day for one of the guys I used to trade with always just called it an accidental home run. Just the thing just keeps going. Hell, maybe there's a buyout on it or something, but the point is that you're not really worried about the trade at that point, because it's you've already locked in your money and you've got your stop in place, so you know nothing's going to hurt you. Interesting. A lot of stuff, unfortunately, and this is what we're going to find a lot with the market in a base, a lot of stuff is just hanging out in these sideways bases. And you can see I quickly go through those. One thing I learned is always try to make the stock do something interesting, be something interesting. There's so many stocks out there. Your stock in particular has to be noticed. Which, speaking of, kind of liking the look of Garmin here. We had this area of resistance up here, right? Sold out of it, came back to it, put in a nice, not really engulfing, piercing candle, they might call it, where you get one strong day and then it kind of negates most of that the next day, right? They tried to push it up a little bit, failed really early in the morning, and then just a nice downtrend all day. So this one may continue lower if we get going tomorrow. Merck's just gross. And this is, I guess, I had a couple questions of, you write algos, why do this on top of algos, right? Because algos should be able to find the daily chart and look for that and do all that stuff for you. I think like this might be the perfect reason why, is because a lot of the algos I have, I'm trying to describe to the system what the daily chart's going to look like and then what the intraday chart's going to look like. But technically, this did show up on my topping tail scan, so it would show up on a topping tail scan within an algo. But you can see it's really hard to tell the system don't trade this stock because it's garbage and it doesn't do anything, right? That's something more that the human eye will tell you, where, you know, pretty much every candle is inside yesterday's candle, right? There's a lot of topping and bottoming tails. It's just a mess. But how do you tell a computer system that this chart's just ugly, don't trade it, right? It's pretty near impossible. So now with all of my algos is they have to be doing something dramatic, right? There has to be something super interesting going on in order to trade, so that I don't have to define the daily chart as much, whereas that's what I do now myself, right? I can look at AIG and I can say this is interesting because we had this support and resistance area here, right? A breakdown out of a pretty significant bounce up too. Maybe we're going to get a pullback tomorrow, but how do you tell a system of that, right? So basically, I think I'm not knocking one or the other. I do both, but I think they both have their merits, right? If you're building algorithms for intraday trading only, it's best to try to find something that's easily describable to the market that something big's happening. Whereas with this kind of stuff, I can use more of my technical eye, I guess. Time's interesting if it wasn't such an ugly daily trader. The gap down and these wicks every time they try to push it higher, but there's no range in that. That's the other thing too, is I know roughly what kind of stop I have in mind. So a lot of the charts, there might be a handful of charts that look good, but they just Gilead's not doing good after hours. They might just be a little bit too volatile or something like that, so I'll just skip over them as well, which is, again, something else that's hard to describe to the system, which is one of the reasons I use Trade Ideas Smart Stop as a bit of a guide. Basically, if it's generally over like 50 cents, I might not take a look, but I can overwrite that myself too, just by eyeballing the chart and saying, oh, well, if I entered here, right, how far away would the stop be? And see if that's reasonable. Alright, so we got really only a few off our topping tail. Now this is the one that I closed by accident, so I just have to go in and update this. Bollinger Band daily, make that 100. Oh. Oops. I don't want that. So again, if you don't know, if you're new to Trade Ideas, you can open up pretty much any window and just hit flip. And it's, the system's smart enough to know that if you click this flip button, it's going to flip. Basically, right now it's trying to find oversold stocks where it's under the Bollinger Band. Now it's looking at overbought stocks just by hitting one button. And that saves a bit of real estate for people like me that don't want 1,000 monitors in front of us. I trade with two 24-inch shitty gateway type monitors. I spend probably half the day on a laptop, on the treadmill. I say half a day, that's bullshit. I spend an hour or two just walking on that treadmill as a way to do something. It's a lot easier when you have a piece of software doing the heavy lifting of the actual executions for you. And you'll see that if you go back in a lot of my videos, sometimes I don't have the pre and post up, but I do now just because we're getting into that season where there might be something that really interests me, and it I'll put the chat over here just in case there's questions. it's getting to the point where there'll be a lot of after hours actions. I'm taking a look at this earnings date here too, and seeing if there's anything coming up soon. Like, I believe 0.25 is tomorrow morning, so basically with Shop, I'm just not gonna be interested in that. I'm gonna keep an eye on MDT here. I'm gonna add this one in. Just basically overbought, very strong. I bet you if you measured it, it's about the same size from this move to this move, which is something a lot of technicians look at, something I'm going to eyeball. Just a simple overbought play on this one. There is some resistance over here. Got to get better drawn lines. All right, you can see that it was support, resistance, 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 resistance. So could be an area that some profit takers try to come in. And again, any questions anytime about trading, about the software, about psychology, about algo trading, right? I'm still looking for, I guess, an overall direction for the channel. So I just want to try different things, see what people respond to, what they like the best. I think people value this kind of real-time stuff where, I don't know how many people are here now, but this is something you could take to the bank tomorrow, I guess, if you agree with any of these, right? I'm not telling you to trade or not trade any of them, because hell, I don't know if I'm going to trade them tomorrow, but might be interesting, I guess, to see what someone's looking for. I'm going to add W on here. Again, just another getting a bit overbought. That resistance area, right? Big strong move into it. Could be just smacking his head, right? Maybe we get a bit of a pullback down tomorrow. Again, I am a day trader for anyone, if there's anyone new watching this. I'm looking for a move that the robot can get into and out of tomorrow. Don't really, you might say, oh, why are you not following up stuff weeks later, just the next day? Is because I'm in and I'm out. I'm done. I think we're going to put AME back in. I thought I remembered. No, maybe not. I thought I remembered 60 being an important number, but I'm going to trust myself. Put that back in. So that is the shorts. So I just confirmed that list on my other screen here. So you'll see in a few minutes, put that up there so I can still see if someone asks a question. There. You'll see this list update with the stuff we just put on it. If you're wondering what's going to be on it, we'll review them a little bit at the end, and then I'll do a long Q&A if anyone asks questions, which, again, there's probably me and one other guy here, so who knows. INTU, this was a good one today. We mentioned I'm probably going to leave this one on the list. Again, I'm finding it harder and harder to find pullback shorts, so I'm doing some kind of bear flag type or bull flag type things, right? This is what we were looking at yesterday. And again, we got a sweet entry. No, it wasn't there. I'm not that good. I think it was here. And a pretty good move today. So we're going to leave that one on. And this is the interesting part of this gig, is because sometimes I'll come in and everything will be exactly as it was yesterday. QCOM hurt me today, but it's still valid for what I was looking at. And that I was basically just saying, okay, probably trapped in a bunch of shorts down there. We got back up or ran back up, and now we've just kind of been basing sideways. And I kind of noted yesterday that we had this level of support here. We broke down a bit at the end of the day, but retrace back over it. So this 53-ish area, I think, is the area to watch on QCOM. So we'll leave that in there. Well, that's a shame. SHLD was great, but there was just no fill in it. That's kind of exactly what I had on the list for. And you'll usually see 1 or 2 of those a day, and I'm just fine with them. Target, the same thing, right? If we got long anywhere in this area, if the bot, saw the pattern that I was pointing at it anywhere in this pattern or this area, that was a pretty good one as well. So far we only kept INTU and QCOM from that list. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, to find longs, which is okay. Worst case scenario, I can just come in underweighted. I just want to be, generally because I don't know what's going to happen overnight, nor do I want to predict. I don't think there's any real advantage in that. I want to go in pretty equal on both sides so that, if we just start running out of the gate tomorrow and keep going and never look back, hopefully I can grab a couple of... Oh, Apple's not good. Yeah, hopefully I can grab a couple longs, and I'm not just... I don't have anything all day, right? Because basically the stuff I'm looking for generally won't trigger in just one of those markets that runs all day. So having both long and shorts, I think, is the best bet. And what will usually happen is you'll have, say the market goes up all day, you'll have maybe 2 shorts that actually triggered and they're bad, and then even 2 shorts or 2 longs that triggered and they're good. So again, it's all about managing risk, right? It's not the fun side of trading. But it's the only side that actually matters. Again, you can be right as often as a coin flip. If and when, sorry, just repositioning myself, right? You can be good as a coin flip as long as you're great with your risk and reward and you're picking things that actually have a potential of going, then you'll be fine. The Facebook we have on the list is probably going to get pulled down. Yeah, it's already getting pulled down by Apple. I do have stuff built into the bot so that if anything gaps a significant amount one way or the other, I'm no longer interested. So just, I guess, one thing to note, if you're wondering, I wonder if Mike got a trade on this, then if it's gapped, then the robot will just ignore it regardless of what it's done. Yelp's interesting, I just can't. CSX is getting real interesting here, right? If you read a trading textbook, it's as close as you get to an ascending triangle, right? Yeah, I'm gonna add that one in. It's not quite a pullback play. I'm not finding any. So sometimes you got to adapt, I guess. ZTS, ABC, Netflix is a bit too wild for me, I think. Yeah. And this is one thing, I guess, if you're looking to say, okay, say you want to make your trading simple and you want to, see a stock come through this window that we're building, and you want to place a trade, put out a stop, put out a profit target, and you're done. Which is a great way to trade. I'm all about simplifying everything you have to do intraday, which is actually why I fully automated it. You take that, the human is really good right now when I'm having a beer and I've got some background music going on and I'm just shooting the shit with you guys. This is when my brain, and when all humans' brains, work fantastic. Read Thinking Fast and Slow by... Shit, I don't know who by. Thinking Fast and Slow. It's a great book about this kind of stuff. Talks a lot about how our snap reactions as humans aren't that great, and the differences between when you think fast and when you think slow. And I noticed that this analytical side is fantastic. So if you were looking at just doing this, right? You only wanted these on your screen. You were only going to trade the stocks that you picked the night before, and only when Trade Ideas showed you exactly where to get in because it thinks that there's an advantage here. Make your... He's Twilio. Is that Twilio? Yeah. Damn. Try to find stocks that move generally the same. Like, not together, but they move generally the same. So you can risk the same amount, which is something that I do because I'm automating my stops. So when I looked at Netflix, let's go back. You might see me do this sometimes where I'm going back and I'm looking at Netflix and I said, okay, well, the trigger pattern I want, if it triggered in this area and it wanted to stop at a low of the day, would that all be possible with like the 25-ish, 30-ish cents that I want to risk? And no way, right? Because that's 155.22 and down here is 154.62. So that's 60 cents, right? So I just could not get away with trading the stock, right? Even late in the day, you're talking 49 and 09, right? So 50 cents I would have to risk on this thing. Because you got to notice that we're not only trying to be right on what's going to happen tomorrow, but it doesn't matter if you're right if you're trading something that you just put too tight of a stop in. I'm going to put TER on here. We're holding this gap up splendidly. Nice little support area we're seeing forming, kind of this 35.50-ish. So I know that if it gaps under 35.50, that'll be enough for the robot to say no go. So ideally we see a pullback to here and a bounce. I'm gonna switch over here. I'm not getting a lot of overbought, oversold stuff there, so I'm gonna switch over, and then again I can just hit configure, flip, and now this list that we found all those over bought stocks are now should be showing us oversold stocks like AT&T, which looks great, but it just doesn't move enough. So not interested. It just looks good, but it just doesn't. Maybe I'll put it in anyway. Maybe I'll get lucky. Because I like stocks that have made a pretty sharp move back down to this area, right? If I guess the top anywhere up in this area, and I'm seeing that it's getting into all this crap here, I'm going to want to take profits. And again, we're just looking. So if you spend any time here, you're probably starting to figure out my trading philosophy, I guess, which is to always examine the other side of the equation. At the same time, always try to figure out what would you do if you were in that situation, and B, just try to ride the wave of what you think the next decision in the market will be, right? So when I'm looking, we'll find something here in a second. You'll see that I always kind of give my rationale behind it as being, if I was long here, which, you know, is an inflection point, this is what I would do. Or if I was short here, this is what I would do. Just trying to put myself in the shoes of kind of the other side of the world. The odds of getting away with that are slim, but it is getting real close. Right, it's kind of in this area, this DPS, strong move, gap down, sell, right? So just think, if you're long from kind of anywhere in this area, and you see that we're getting down to this gross area here, and you have a good profit in your pocket, and that profit happened in 4 or 5 days, you know, you might be pretty quick to pull the trigger. and take that thing up. So it's interesting. I'm going to throw it in there. Again, my only problem is what I just talked about, where I kind of measured this little area, right? Because if my robot's buying, or for example, just say it's shorting here, right? The stop it's automatically going to put out, I want it to be in this area. So what I do is I just measure from where I think a possible entry would be. This way it might be the other way around, right? It might be buying here, and I want the stop to be about in this area. So I'm measuring, I know what the stop is going to be that the robot's going to put out. So I'm basically just measuring, and I'm saying, is that reasonable, right? And that's the 30s, and then that's into the teens, so that's about 20, 25 cents. If it bought in through here, 25 cents would be about here, right? And that's just, what I'm doing is just a way to eyeball if it's reasonable, the stop that I'm figuring out. And my wrist just vibrated, and my Apple Watch just told me that Facebook interns are making twice the American wage. So if this doesn't work out, excuse me, I need to get a mute button. That was probably really rude. I think I can hit mute here. Yeah, if this doesn't work out, let's go be an intern at Facebook. I need something to do with my time intraday anyway. Oh, we dropping a lot of frames. How do I stop that? Let's close some things down. I always assume if something's going wrong, it's a Chrome tab somewhere. Again, type in the chat if the quality messes up like we were having the other day. I think everything's out. You may have not even noticed the drop frames because it's not like I'm playing a game or a movie or something. Add in TD here. Good old Canadian bank. Toronto Dominion. Just right, final wave kind of right down. It's got some resistance, I guess, here, some support here. I'm mainly looking at the intraday chart and seeing that this 46.25, we kind of bounced that twice. So, you know, again, if the bot triggers anywhere in this area and puts a stop there, that's about 25 cents. So if I wanted to get my 50 cents, all I would need is a move up to there, which, you know, puts us somewhere there on the chart. So I guess this is step one, and it's interesting hearing myself ramble, I guess, that all of the things that happen when someone's been staring at charts as long as I have that are seeming obvious to me, but when I'm explaining them, in my head I'm saying, oh, well, if I didn't stare at charts all the goddamn time, that would be something I didn't know to do, right? I didn't know made sense. So what I'm doing, you'll see, is almost two steps. First, I'm identifying the current pattern based off of kind of a preconception that I've made for myself when I've gone in, right? My preconception being, as long as the market's range bound, I'm going to just continue to look for range bound stocks to play support and resistance off of. So with that, I've already kind of told my mind, okay, look for this. And from then, I'm finding that pattern, but at the same time, I'm also kind of visualizing, okay, where would I need to get to make myself happy, right? Where would I need to get stopped out? Where would I need to get to kind of make myself happy for the amount of profits versus what I'm risking, right? So we got a pretty decent ATR, about $1 of this ATV. You can see it's the same kind of thing I was talking about on a couple of the others that were going up, that were declining, but at the same time the volume's declining, right? So I would be worried, again, if I'm short from anywhere in here, that we might be running out of steam and we want to get a snapback. So I'm looking at it and saying, okay, the robot's probably going to look at this as resistance. So if we break through here, a 25-cent stop would be about in this area, right? And a 50-cent profit target would be about in that area, which gets us just right here on the daily chart, right? So you can just see I'm not looking for the moon here, right? As day traders, our main advantage is that we can be in, we can take our money, and we can get the hell out. So what a trade on the bot might look like tomorrow, if it does identify this as a resistance area, is kind of a purchase above here, or I have another algorithm that I'm testing for a pullback to this support, then a 25-cent stop, 50-cent profit target on most of the position. 80% is what I'm doing right now, thereabouts. And then, right, if it does, something crazy happens and we have a big short covering rally, then all the better. If not, I know my stop is very close, so I know that this trade really, unless I get caught in a halt or something crazy like that, I've already defined what I expect to happen. Again, the beauty of algo trading. That one's just too volatile. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need ideally 3 more, right? I'm not going to force them. I'm not going to put in 3 junk stocks just to have stocks in the bot tomorrow. But ideally we find 3 more stocks that are pulling back to support. Eventually, if we get enough people in here, you guys should be kind of sharing, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Maybe I can use you guys to find them as well as trade ideas. But again, when I tell people I go through a couple hundred charts a night to find the watch list the next day, they look at me wide-eyed like that's a shit ton of work. But we've been going for what, 45 minutes? We're almost done, and done work for the day. In theory, I don't need to be here tomorrow, right? I'll watch the bot. I've got I think a client tomorrow that I'm mentoring, that type of thing. But if you had a day job, you just plug this in and let her go. That's really interesting. If we look in, we've got some support here and here, and that's this pretty decent sell-off here on Kellogg's is getting right back to. So I'm going to add this one in as well. Pretty decent average true range, 71 cents. And just great volume, right? 3 million shares, that's 150% normal volume. So we still get 1.5 million a day. So a lot of volume on that, a lot of liquidity. I remember Kellogg's actually being one of the ones that we would give to new traders. At the old firm, we would actually limit the stocks that the traders could trade. And I think Kellogg's was one of them because it was so liquid, so tight. You could use a lot of automated orders and not get in any trouble at all. All right, move that over here. And then I also have this one that might take a look at. This is one of the custom scans that I built a little formula for in Trade Ideas. So again, if you're using if you're not using Trade Ideas, check it out. Link below. You can try it. It's 15% off there, and you can try it for a month for less than $100. So it's definitely worth that. If you're using it for a while and you run into things to look at, you might just want to take a look at their custom formula page because you can actually build a lot of stuff that they don't have in there. So this is one that I built with custom formulas, and basically just saying, show me stocks that are closed near the high of the day. And the hope here is just that I find something that, was pulling back, maybe closed near the high, something that looks like it could continue that strength tomorrow. MD is a little... I don't like charts that have gaps in the 5-minute candles. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Elton Johnson's interesting. I'm going to add that one in there. And basically just because we had this pullback, made a new high, and then we've just kind of been pulling back ever so slightly in that newer high. So we closed strong today. 1, 2, 3, 4 bottoming tails in a row. You can see, or sorry, 3 bottoming tails in a row here. So there's obviously some demand in this area. So I think if we can continue up tomorrow, filling the gap could happen. And even without that, it's a pretty clean trader. You're talking 4 million or almost 5 million shares today, and that's average. Again, I'm not one of those low float guys. I get it. I think it works fine with discretionary trading as long as you're incredibly disciplined. My issue with the low float stuff is that if you're not disciplined at all and you're a new trader, they're going to murder you. You're going to be caught in something and the spreads are just going to open and it's going to be ugly. So myself personally, I shy away from most of these scans. The symbol had to be doing, I think, at least 500,000 shares today. And I'm not knocking any of the ones who do trade low float. I just tried it. It didn't work out for me. It certainly didn't work with the robotic trading. The spreads can be dangerous, so it's important to know that yes, you can make a lot of money off them. At the same time, they can open them up and drop the floor out of them. So as long as you know that, you've always got your finger on the trigger to get out, I think you'll be fine. I just hate hearing new traders that didn't understand that, and then they get so excited when things rip 20% in their direction. They don't know that that thing can just tank 20% in your direction. If you didn't take the profits, you're shit out of luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only got room for one more here. And this scan here is just another oversold scan. There's just multiple ways to tell the system, right? Show me quote unquote overbought, oversold, right? They have access to Bollinger Bands and RSIs, and you can use kind of standard deviation, so statistical type measures. So I have a few scans that are basically asking for the same information. They're just asking for it in different ways. So what you'll see is a lot of the same stocks, but every now and then you'll get something different, and that might be the thing that you want to add to the list today. So, and again, today's whole workday is going to be under an hour, so I certainly can't complain if I go over the same symbol a couple times. Our last one here is going to be SLB. Another nice clean trader. 9 million shares today. And yeah, pullback. I knew this area was familiar. Mark up horizontal line. So you can see that there was some support there earlier. Just a big move down from 87 to 91. Just a pretty great intraday trader when it comes to volumes and everything. So we're going to update that list, and what you'll see again in a moment, the long list here will update, and that will be the new one. So let's quickly go through the shorts. We're looking at AIG. Interesting that this 62 area, support through here, a bit of resistance through here. We had a pullback, came up to it, and then we kind of smacked our head right on 62. Only went up above a little bit, sold off. Good smart stop, good true range. It's behind there, and I'll get it in a second, but good volume. So we're going to watch that one short tomorrow. AME. We had a decent short on this one, I think, somewhere in through here. And now it's just made another push up. Looking at this 59 area is basically what to signal the bot, right? Anywhere slightly above or slightly below this 59 area, if I see some support break is what I'm programming in. So, right, so break of support area in through here. I think we could get some profit taking to come in. CCL was not nice to us today, but we're going to give that another shot as it remains up here, a little bit oversold. C-Trip, decent profit taking today, looking kind of like AIG with kind of predefined area in here. So I'm going to look for a support break near that area. EVHC, we had a pretty decent sell-off. We're popping back up and we're getting close to the breakdown area. So I think, again, if I shorted this bear flag here and it was coming back up to it, that'd be a time where I would probably try to defend, right? If I'm short in that area and it's coming back, I might say, okay, well, here's a chance to get more. Now that I look at it, it looks like we had earnings. Interesting. Hey, Kate, you're on YouTube now. This gap may nullify this entirely, but I'll check up on this again in the morning, see if the gap's going to chill a bit. But Facebook, we've been watching this a few days now, like 3. It keeps at the kind of mid to end of each day. Keeps putting in a lot of topping action, right? It's never closing. It's always pulling back. This move from here, that circle should be here. It's rarely closing right at its high. There's a lot of topping action in here. And again, just overbought up into blue skies there. So at some point, if I'm long anywhere in through here, I'm going to hit the sell button pretty hard. Garmin, looking the same as AIG. Sell down, break up into prior congestion, and then a pretty decent rejection of that area, so could get some continuation. MDT just overbought basically. We had this, got to go out a bit for it, but we had this interesting level here, 85. And pretty decent move run up to it after being all the way down to 70. So we could get a decent reversal here. And PSX was a great trade for us today, so I might be biased on it. But I like the fact that we have this resistance area and then topping tails into the resistance that got quickly thwarted. And then closed right at support here. So if we crack, possible we can get to 77. Again, I'm trying to avoid these more momentum type things where I'm looking for something to break and continue because of the market. But this one was just such a clean trade today. It might get me tomorrow, who knows. And W, we noted that this is where it was in the past, pulled all the way up to it. In the last few days, the past few days it's kind of been picking up steam. So we think that it might crack its head on that $50 support area, pull back a bit. And for the longs, CSX, again, we're trying to avoid these continuation plays, but we had a real nice tight flag in there. So a break here, we could move higher. DPS, we're a bit worried about how volatile it is. The stops I try to do might be a bit too much for it, but nice support here at 90. Again, anyone in through here is making money. We just need one of those guys to lean on the cover button, and then we're fine. INTU worked out fantastic today, so we're hoping for the same kind of thing tomorrow, where it has some predefined support around 224.50. You can see we bounced off that today. We went all the way up to 226-ish. So if we can get a pullback, I guess somewhere in this area tomorrow. Basically, I'm just kind of looking at this bull flag on the daily and just this sideways action here. See if we're going to continue if we move higher. J&J, same kind of stuff, right? We had a gap down, came up, closed the gap, kind of. Slight pullback with some intraday buying, right? Every time we sold off, bulls came in, right? So if we get that kind of action tomorrow, at some point, the people keeping it down here are probably going to throw in the towel. Kellogg's, we went way back to draw this line, but there was some support here at 70 and just a big move down to it. Again, we're only looking for 50 cents, so a bounce would be phenomenal. ORIH are worried is this doesn't really do anything, right? 50 cent average true range, right? If I'm looking for 50 cents, that's too much, right? It's too little of an average true range, but nice bottoming tail here under this resistance area. So if we get a bounce, maybe things get going. I'm just worried that this one's going to trigger tomorrow and just kind of chop sideways all day. QCOM wasn't nice to us today, but we've noticed that this 33 or 53 to 53.20-ish has been resistance and then support here, there, and there. And this big run up we had after this gap down on the daily and then this sideways move. If we can get some support here, it moves up, maybe the buyers give up and we get a little push. SLB, again, we scrolled way out to draw this line. We noticed there was some support down here, just a large move down to it. Toronto Dominion, not much in daily support, but intraday was interesting here. We had a bounce. We had 3 bounces around this 46.25, and again, it made our oversold list for being a little too far down. And TER, another one of those, don't really like it because it's more of a continuation play in this market, but strong move, and it's been holding on to this gap nicely. So we've got a kind of clear area here at 35.50. My bet is that the robot's going to see this as support. So if we take a break of this, our stop's going to be kind of down in this area somewhere, and hopefully we get a 50-cent move, which is going to be in this area. So again, trying to visualize the day and ahead of what trade ideas is going to see as support, what it's going to see as resistance, so that if I plug it in, generally where do I think it's going to trigger, and then from there, what do I think is possible, right? And again, I say it all the time, it's not interesting or sexy or sound fantastic or anything, but all we're trying to do with this particular style is develop a good 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio and tilt that win rate ever so slightly in our favor, right? We've developed kind of an intraday type of thing with trade ideas support and resistance algorithm that seems to just bat 50% kind of right out the gate. So what we're saying is, can I use my eye to filter out a bunch of stocks that just suck and don't trade well, and a bunch of ones that I don't think personally have the ability to move higher, and then from there say, okay, well, I want I'm looking for, right, 2-to-1 risk reward. You know, I know that support and resistance algorithm, right, plus or minus 5% is somewhat right 50% of the time. So if I can pick stocks that I think have the potential to really move if they get going, then maybe I can take that 2-1, and with the little bit I leave behind, make it 3-1, maybe, or even 2.5-1. And then maybe I can move that when I get really good at this, which happens sometimes. If I can move that to a 60% return, then you're laughing, right? Because say you have 10 trades a day, you're right 60% of the time. You risk $100 on every trade, just to make the math easier for my slow brain. So then your profit target is you're trying to look to make about $200 on every trade. So you've made $200 on 6 trades, or $1,200, and then you lost $400 on 4 trades, right? So you lost $400, so you make $800. And that's just basically what you're going for. But you take these numbers, and as long as you're good at spotting the stocks that can actually move, and you can keep this 2-1 in, right? If you're right 5 out of 5 or 5 out of 10 times, half and half, right? You're making 1,000, you're losing 500, you're still fine, right? So that's basically all I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to narrow the whole world of stocks into a handful of stocks that I think have a chance, and I'm trying to kind of visualize in my mind what I think Trade Ideas is going to do with these particular stocks tomorrow, and just try to make sure that this 2-1 risk reward is reasonable, right? Just by eyeballing them tonight and seeing, right, what would a stop look like and what would a target look like, and then if I can just work my way up to 50% or 60%. Then I'm golden. But if not, because the robot is robotically, systematically managing risk, you know, I know that there's not going to be that rogue trade that could happen if I was doing it, where, you know, I forget to put in a stop or something like this. So, again, as long as I'm getting a 50% win rate, things are fine. So, that is our list today. About an hour, give or take. I don't know, again, it was distracting when I had the amount of people in here up, so I don't know if there's none of you, or I don't know, maybe I went viral for being a weird sounding Canadian drinking beer and looking at stocks, and there's 100,000 people in here. So I'll open it up to questions. Probably more likely it's me and one other person, but we'll chill out, listen to this. It's not Kate. It's not trip hop. It is, what is it? Lo-fi hip hop. It's called, and it's royalty free. So one of the reasons, I guess, if anyone was on my channel and my videos disappeared, is because this background music, which again I don't know if it's too loud or too quiet or any of that. I'll have to watch the video back, but I like this kind of voiceless, slow beat type of thing. This is the creative time of day for me, right? This is the time to sit back and wide-eye look at charts, and it's very cerebral, it's very creative. So I want to get into that mode, right? So have a beer, you know, whatever your drug of choice is, right? I usually meditate right beforehand, get myself super chill, and go through that. So, oh, a question, finally. So interesting way to trade. How long have you been using robotic trading through TI? This kind of trading, Kate, if you're still here, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably 4 months old, 5 months old, 6 months old, let's say. This particular kind of trading, and it's quickly becoming my most favorite. But I've been algo trading now through Trade Ideas for 2 years, give or take. And I still do have algos that run on the side, but they don't, I look at them once a week. They just need tweaking every week, so I don't really have to show them off or do this kind of work for them. But what I found is that the algo trades were great for things that were hard for humans to do, for scalps, for basically managing a large number of things and looking for a slight statistical edge, and it did great with that and still does. However, I found that I was getting a little bit out of touch with the market by just running numbers over and over and over again. So I was struggling, and me and Kate were talking a long time, is okay, where do we come into this equation? So I kind of was deep one night in the weeds, and this kind of hit me. He said, why don't you just combine the two? Why don't you combine algo tradings with an intraday algorithm that looks for entries and exit with what you're doing currently? And I think it was like that night or the next morning, I was like, we got to get working on this, make sure our bot can handle it. If you're trading with interactive brokers, I think the bot that Trade Ideas has handles it fine. If not, right, you can just discretionary trade by, again, you can bring up these lists and just keep these up on your desk and nothing else. And you know what? This is my time, so this would be New York time 9:45, NCLH. Click on that, right? It will bring up this chart. You know that you're trying to short it somewhere near 54.95, and then you just establish your own rules, right? How much are you going to risk? How much are you going to make as a reward? That type of thing, and narrow it down. But for me, I just love the algo trading. I love that this is my job has switched from that kind of sweaty intraday, frustrating, looking for things to it's near 7 o'clock my time, but what the hell do I care? I started at 5:30, and I just chill and sit back and feed the bot for tomorrow and just let it work, right? And again, for people who are just coming in, if there's anyone here other than me and Neil here, all of these may trigger, none of these may trigger, I don't know, right, until tomorrow. So hope that answered your question. If not, tell me it didn't. And again, if there's anyone else in here, ask away. I can hang out for a little bit actually. So you've got basically a trader live on the other end of a microphone for free that you can ask questions to. So fill your boots if you got any. Cool little radio station. Yeah, it's one thing I read when I read and I do a lot of audiobooks and stuff about psychology, the psychology of trading, all this kind of stuff. And one thing it talked about a lot is when you're studying or when you're doing something creative is the music you should listen to, right? It should be kind of instrument only, no words that can mess up with your brain. So I don't know why we're dropping frames. CPU usage is only 2%. Maybe my internet's still awful. Who knows? So anything else from anyone? Any questions? Again, right below, you just type it in. If it's asking for a YouTube account, a lot of people are like, I don't have a YouTube account, but you probably do. If you have a Gmail account in any way, shape, or form, that's your YouTube account, right? A Google account for Google Plus, if anyone actually uses Google Plus, or Gmail or any of the other stuff, that's your YouTube account. So you can also tweet at me. I don't do a lot of Twittering. I should probably do more. Same name on Twitter. You won't have to hear about what I had for breakfast. Usually I'll just tell you when I'm going live. Excuse me. When there's a new video up, stuff like that, right? Because I just got into Twitter, and goddamn, I hate people who just want to give me their life story, so. Alright, it's 2 questions. I'll answer. Neil again gets to follow up to the other one. Need to learn TI though. Remember, if you buy TI with the link below, you can just set up a free hour of training. The best way I suggest doing that is playing with the basic stuff yourself and then doing a free hour trading. Again, I mentor people in building algorithms and stuff through TI. That's not free, but if that interests you, you can email me. Again, below the video, I always have my email. So If anyone in here is shy about asking questions, the email's down there and you can just send it directly. If I don't answer your email in a day or two, send it again. I get a lot. Sometimes they get lost. I click on one. I'm like, oh, I'll do that in a minute, and then I forget. So it's my fault, basically. And then the other question is beat the market. I don't compare percentage returns. I would say, yeah, but I trade prop, so it's a bit difficult. Like I have with a prop firm, if you don't know, and again, I work with a prop firm. I partner with them to train their traders. We accept basically anybody outside of the U.S. and we fund your trading entirely. You give us a little bit for a training fee, and then you pay monthly. Basically, we get charged for data, so we just pass that data on through, and it's like $30 a month, I think. But basically, with a prop firm, you're given as much capital as you prove that you need, right? So you start off very small with a very small stop loss, and then as you prove that you know what you're doing and you're making money, then we just slowly up your stop loss. So all of the calculations I do is how much have I made as a percentage of my daily stop loss, that type of thing, because it's very hard to calculate returns, because in theory, right, if I just showed amazing results, I could say give me $1 million buying power and they'd go nuts. They'd go crazy, but you get so much leverage. I have no idea what buying power I'm actually utilizing at the time, to be honest. So it's very hard to tell you percentages. I would say that with a strategy like this, it really doesn't matter what the market's doing. You just have to adapt the stocks you pick accordingly. So in down markets, I'm sure day trading makes a lot more sense than in up markets if you're looking at a portfolio return value. But it's I don't have that number. I would say yeah, but I don't have that number. And for the Holly type trades, I'm not here a lot of intraday. I guess I should read the question for the YouTube people who are watching this later. Basically, how much do I use to how reliant am I on the ideas that are generated by Holly? I trade my own algorithms, and then I trade these stocks the night before. It's very rare that I'm sitting here all day intraday. That being said, if I am, and something comes through Holly, I'll definitely take a look at it and probably take it. I have definitely no problem with Holly. I think it's great. Actually, a handful of the strategies that are on there, I built, right? Bond shorty, wait for the 8, bouncers. I don't know. There's like 5 that I built. So of course I like them. I'm biased to them. So yeah, if I enjoy it, then if I made them and they print off, then I'm obviously biased towards them. But I know the kind of work that goes into the back end of them, so I'm really open to them as a strategy. So I think they're fine. All I would say is be careful, because you got to remember that it's a robot that's doing it, and when it's a robot that's doing it, there might be something that your eye picks up over the robot, right? So as you can talk to Dan, you can talk to Steve and Barry, and they'll tell you the same thing, right? Is that it's a tool, right? I think if anybody has problems with Holly, it's generally speaking because they just said, okay, I'm going to take everything that Holly does and try to match her result. It's just, you can't do that because she's faster than you, first of all. But in theory, if you hone your trading skills, you'll do better. So I think Holly's a fantastic tool. I think you just have to get comfortable with the strategies that are in it, which I think I'm a little bit biased on because I wrote a lot of them, so I know what they're about. I think they need to improve. They need a description of bouncers built by me, and then have me write something. This is what it's looking for. I think would be fantastic, but I think they're working on that now. So good tool, getting better. Understand it's a tool. It is not a black box system, right? Holly is beating the crap out of the market if you can use your trader eye to filter out the stuff that might be a little bit too jumpy for you, not meet your criteria, and that kind of thing. So And the other one, why did I stop doing the auto trading small account? Nobody was watching. It's really weird with YouTube. Again, I'm trying to figure out what you guys want as traders. I struggled for a while as a trader, probably a lot longer than most traders, to be honest. I might have been a little slow on this. And to be honest, I started the YouTube channel because I was hanging out in this room, greatstockpicks.com. Still love it. Not there as much anymore, but still think they're really good guys. And I made a couple videos to explain to them something that I was trying to explain in the room, and it didn't work out too well, so I just made videos. Turns out people liked them, the channel grew, so I kept making them. And for the last 6 months, I've been kind of stagnant, trying to figure out what the rest of the world wants. So I've been going through the past ones, and I used to do these like real well edited speed up a day's trading and show that kind of stuff, and that did okay. And then I would do these kind of real well edited talking about a PowerPoint and talking about a really important concept that I think in trading. And I'm trying to bring up my results here, but nobody watched any of that. Everyone wanted live real-time stuff, which kind of makes sense, right? Where they're looking for what do I do next, right? What do I do tomorrow? Yeah, for reference, the video we did Sunday got 150 views so far. The video I did the week before that was like a really thoughtful, this is something every trader should be thinking about all the time, and it got like 70 views, right? So less than half. So I'm basically just kind of going with what the market or what the people want to see. I'm interested in trying to figure out, I'm always interested in feedback, right? So if that's something that you guys liked better, if you guys liked when I did the watch list and they were little 10-minute videos instead of live streams, let me know. Maybe I do a live stream and a little 10-minute video, and they can watch whichever one they like. I don't know. I'm learning this thing. I enjoy it. I always enjoy teaching. Obviously, there's financial rewards for if you buy trade ideas from my link. There's an affiliate there. And the also the mentoring, right? I obviously charge for that, and I've gotten a lot of people come to me, hey, I seen your videos, and I want to be mentored by you. So there's financial rewards, but really I like teaching, so I'm just kind of doing what the people want, I guess. So if you see a video you like, and this is with anyone on YouTube or whatever, right? It's sharing that around, telling other people about it, ups the view count, and that's really all we can watch to say, okay, what do the people that are watching me, what do they actually want to see, right? And the next question is, why don't I post the videos I make in the Trade Ideas room? And that's, I think, because Barry is an affiliate as well, right? You can see a couple times throughout the day he'll post, if you're interested in trade ideas, here's where you buy, and this kind of stuff. And I think Barry's doing such a kick-ass job in there, I don't want to step on his toes, because if I post my stuff in there, it almost feels like I'm stepping up on his corner, so to speak. So if you see something you like, you share it away. Definitely ask Barry first before you share links in the trading room. I don't know what the rules are on that, but basically I just don't want to be in other people's space promoting my stuff. I figure my goal is to be the honest guy on YouTube about trading. So if people like what they see and they want to come hang out, great. If they want to go in a trading room and do that, then that's fine. But again, run it by Barry, right? And if he says fine, then maybe I'll stop in and post some videos. But really, it's his world, so I want to make sure I'm being nice to him, right, and playing by his rules. So I don't want to go in there and just start promoting all my stuff in his space. So again, if you got a Twitter account, you want to help out, share it around, post it wherever you see it, right? There's a little Facebook group, that kind of stuff. But to be honest, I think the best recurring business, I guess you could say, from the mentoring and from the watching and all that stuff, just word of mouth, I think is always the best way to grow something like this. someone says, hey, look at this guy's not an asshole and he's not talking about do what I say and buy my $1 billion course and then you'll have your own Ferrari. So I think it'll grow over time. I just need feedback on what you guys want to see, right? So you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just know that, he's got his own links, right? So if for me to feel okay and post my videos in there, I would need to scrub my links out, and don't really want to do that. So again, if you want to, ask him. Say, listen, this was a really cool trade ideas thing I saw. Do you mind if I post a link? Barry knows me as well, right? So he'll let me know one way or the other. So thanks, I appreciate it. Again, I guess I should be reading these. He was talking about me posting the videos in the Trade Ideas chat room. Anybody watching this who doesn't go to the Trade Ideas chat room, it's free. So why not go and just look at it? I like the feedback, right? You got to remember that when I make a video, I click upload and it's gone. And, quite often there's no comments or anything like that. So I don't know if people love me or hate me or what. So, if not just me, if you're watching any other guys out there talking about trading on YouTube or social media, if they're doing something good, let them know. If you want them to change something, let them know, right? It's the only way we know is to get feedback. So the room does have a lot of traders. Yeah, I would definitely, that would be a massive amount. I'm up to like 750 subscribers. The goal was always by the summer to be 1,000. So we're well behind that, but so. Yeah, I've offered, I need to read these for the YouTube people. So we got another that says, Barry does a great job, but I think people may benefit from a different moderator. Probably because you're saying a different point of view on the market, right? Because we all think about it a little different, like once a week. Be interesting. I've told Barry a few times that if he ever needs a hand with the room, right, just let me know. The difference is you got to keep in mind is Barry is an employee of Trade Ideas and I'm not. Oops, I'm an affiliate. So, right, if you click on a link and buy something, they kick some back, but I don't work for them, so I'm not shocked they don't want to bring in people like that to moderate the room because they don't know anything about me, right? No, they saw the videos, they liked the videos, they said, here, you want to slam a link below, because I made these videos well before I was a sales affiliate. So they liked the videos, said, here, if you're already talking about trade ideas, put this below, and if people buy something, we'll give you a few bucks. So they don't really, other than that, they don't really know anything about me, so I'm not surprised. But again, always you can tweet at Trade Ideas 1. That's Dan, right? If you want to see something else, right? Maybe even webinars with different people, or if you want to see whatever, let them know. Trade Ideas is one of the best companies I have ever seen for listening to feedback from people and then actually doing that thing. The updates they've made to their software is amazing. Like this time, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they didn't have charts. Right? Holly's only maybe a year and a half old. So they're moving quick. They're going with steam, and part of the thing they're doing is a real good job at listening to what their clients want and building that accordingly. So, if there's anything you ever want to see, more of, less of, different of, just tweet at Trade Ideas 1. I'll put it in there. That's Dan. He's kind of running the show, maybe. Don't tell him I said this, but I think Barry runs the show, and it's all a front. Dan's just there to make good speeches. Barry actually runs everything in the background, but don't tell him I said that. I'll cause some infighting. Okay, guys, so if there are no questions, I will start cooking for the wife when she gets home, because that's what we do now that we're trading at home. We can't get out of the honey-do lists. She's like, yeah, but you have a robot trading for you. I'm like, shit. She's on to me. So again, do I know who programmed Holly? No. I know who built a lot of the strategies for Holly between me and Dan and a few other guys, but the actual programming behind it, I'm no idea, not a clue. So again, same time tomorrow. We'll start half hour after the market closes. Go for an hour, hour and a half, as long as you want questions. If you want a bunch of people to be here, you're free to say, hey, youtube.com/bondpara/live, or on my Twitter, I'll post the links, and we can send them over here right after. I like to wait a half hour to the market close, stretch, get something to drink, be back. So I will see you guys then tomorrow at this time. We'll wrap up today the stocks that we put on the list. I'll bring in the alert windows and I'll show you what actually traded. We'll go over the market, we'll build the list for tomorrow, and then after that, a Q&A with whatever other questions you want to ask. So I will see you guys tomorrow.